Well, welcome along to Autodrome Most, everybody, for day 2 of the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series. It's round 6 of the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series Euro NASCAR 2 division that we'll have coming up very shortly. Construction of this circuit began in 1978 on the site of the old Vrabrinsky mine, which was one of a number of industrial plots that filled the landscape on the west side of the city of Most. And over the next 4 years, the circuit gradually began to take shape. The facility had major renovations take place in 1995. In record time of 5 months, new retaining walls and 20,000 tons of gravel were placed into the runoff areas to bring it up to the latest FIA and FIM standards. And at 2004, another refurbishment was made, which would see further changes to the barriers and reconfiguration of the first turn. A much sharper chicane was installed, very similar to Monza's, really, but it did allow for another overtaking opportunity around this circuit, which we saw plenty of action at that part of the circuit over the course of yesterday. So that tells you a little bit about the track. Let's have a look at its actual configuration and the map of it. It is quite a long circuit, but quite thin from one side to the other, tight and twisty. It's 4.2 or 2.6 miles long, 4.2 kilometers or 2.6 miles. And as you can see, there's some long straight sections to it, but some twisting technical sections where you flow from one side of the circuit to the other as you work your way through the right and the left turns. And there are plenty of both right and left turns around this circuit. In total, 17 turns around the track, and as you can see, some of them very tightly packed to each other. So as you head through turn 4, 5 and 6, they're almost on top of each other, and it's the same through turns 12, 13, 14 and 15. It's just that flow where the circuit goes right to left and left to right and back to right to left again. So quite a technical circuit, but one that the drivers absolutely relish, and it's the second visit of the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series to the circuit. What we'll see coming up very shortly, as we say, is the Euro NASCAR 2 division. But let's have a look at what the weekend format is. If you're not familiar with the way that we work in the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series, we have our regularity challenge on the Friday and free practice for both divisions of NASCAR, Euro NASCAR Pro and Euro NASCAR 2. Qualifying and a race took place yesterday. We've already had a warm-up session this morning for the cars, which went well for almost everybody. And then today we get our final 2 races, one for each division. Euro NASCAR 2 are out for a 60-kilometer race. That is going to equate to around this circuit 14 laps, and then we will have a 17-lap race or a 75-kilometre race for Euro NASCAR Pro a little bit later on, and that's the way that we are looking for today. The cars are making their way out onto circuits. In terms of the point standings coming into this weekend, we're not even midway through the championship in terms of point scoring, but the points championship at the moment in the Euro NASCAR 2 division is being led by Tobias Dauenhauer coming into this weekend. He will be looking to try and further extend his championship lead. Tobias is now on 184 points following his win from yesterday. These are fresh points after yesterday's race. Martin Dubek is second. Vladimir Choitzes was in third, but a poor run from yesterday sees him drop to 7th position in the championship standings. So Advait Deodhar moves up to 3rd, and Simon Palat moves up from 7th to 4th after his strong result yesterday. Alberto Panebianco still leads the rookie standings in 6th position. The Legend Trophy, look how tight that is. Yevgen Sokolovsky and Max Lancer in 10th and 12th places respectively are separated by just one single point. And in the Lady Trophy as well, in 16th position, over to the left of your screen, you can see that Ariana Casserly is only just ahead now, 4 points ahead of Alina Leubneger. So it's really, really tight in the main championship and all of the subcategories as well. So we've got more points to be scooped up in this race, 40 points for a win, 35 for second, and so on. So that's the way that the points championship looks after yesterday. We can have a look at some of the action from yesterday as well, from the Euro NASCAR 2 race that we had here on the Saturday at Most. So there we go, Tobias Dauenhauer claiming his second win of the season, his fifth of his career. Advait Deodhar and Martin Beck joining him on the podium yesterday. So that was what happened yesterday. If you're wondering how the points scoring works, we've already shown you the championship point score, but I think we have a graphic that actually shows how the points work in each particular race. I'm going to see whether we might be able to bring that up. So there you go, look, 40 points for the win, 35 for second, and diminishing by 1 point for each place thereafter. That's in the regular season. So that's the point scoring for both Ricardo Tormo, for Brands Hatch, for here at Most. That same point scoring will apply to Grobnik and to Zolder, but for the finals that took place at Autodrome Vallelunga, and that is scheduled to take place on the 30th and 31st of October. You can see on the right of the screen there, double points, 80 points for the win, 70 points for second, 68 points for third. And also the bonus points, 4 points, if you gain the most positions from your starting position in the race to your finishing position in the regular season. And those are also doubled for the final round. You do drop your worst score in the regular season. And that's the way we will add up all of our scoring and work out who is going to follow in the footsteps of Vittorio Garelli, who is the reigning Euro NASCAR 2 champion and will become the Euro NASCAR 2 champion for what will be the 2021 championship season. So the grid is fully formed down there. We will have the national anthems being played very, very shortly. Andre Weigold should be down there as well, and we might just be able to catch up with a driver or two in what are some better conditions today. Andre is down there on the grid, so let's hand down to him.
Okay, I check. No problem, no problem. Okay, the next one we have here on the grid is Francesco Garisto driving for 42 Racing. Yeah, you have plenty of drivers in front of you, but the starting position is not so bad. What is your strategy?
No, so our strategy is gonna be to keep the pace. We're gonna have our peak till more or less at the end of the race. So we have to keep calm, go through the first half of the race, keeping our pace, not going in an accident. It might happen because here we saw it yesterday, but today I feel we can stay cautious, and we know we will see nice stuff till more or less at the end of the race.
We have different conditions today. Yesterday, wet race, mixed conditions. Today it's hot, it's dry. How does it change your approach?
Well, dry track and wet track are two different things. So today is going to be a totally different race from yesterday. So yeah, the driving style is different. Everything's different. So I'm confident we can do a good race.
All right, thank you so much. Now the national anthems.
There we go, the national anthem of the United States of America. And we should shortly be having our national anthem for our host country, the Czech Republic, here at Autodrome Most. So there we go, the national anthem of the Czech Republic on the build-up to our Euro NASCAR 2 race. Let's hand you back down onto the grid where Andre Weigel has managed to catch up with another driver.
We're here with the number 66 of DF1 Racing, and the driver is Simon Pilat from Belgium. Yesterday it was a tough race for you. You started in second, I think you finished in fifth. Now you have a solid starting position, but the conditions are completely different. How are you going to approach in this race?
Yeah, well, in qualifying I did P2 and it was on the dry, so I feel confident that I can go back up the places. I'll probably try to aim for a podium. The guys in front of me, some are very difficult to overtake, so I just have to find the right opportunity. I also have to be intelligent and go for the points more than just for one position. So don't try to take too much risk. And then, yeah, we'll see how it goes from the start, and I will do my best to overtake as soon as possible.
But you said you want to overtake them, but what are the best opportunities on that track to overtake an opponent?
I'll say if they get a bad exit in the last turn, definitely the first turn after the long straight. And then it all depends on the exit they get of the corners. I think here the exits matters more than the braking point. So I'll have to be really careful on the exit to try to get as most momentum as possible.
All right, thank you so much, and I wish you a good race.
Thank you.
Yeah, a wise head on young shoulders there, 19 years of age, Simon Pilat, and yeah, just knowing that, is it really worth it? That one place just nets you one extra championship point. It might come in handy at the end of the season, it could be vital, but it could also not quite happen and could end up with your car in the gravel trap or damaged. So yeah, sensible thinking, and also interesting to hear what we heard from that car there, from Francesco Caristo, talking about his car is set up to come on strong later on in the race. Now that probably means that they have set up the tyre pressures so that they're going to peak later on in the race, and he knows the performance of the car isn't going to be there at the start, but he's just got to make sure that he keeps the car towards the sharp end of the field, knowing that if he can hold up quicker cars behind him in the early stages, the race will come to him. The race will come to him, and he just needs to stay out of trouble, keep calm, and know the fact that whilst you might struggle in the early stages of the race, you are going to have a very different car and a much nicer car, a much quicker car towards the tail end of this 14-lap race that will be round 6 of the 2021 championship season. It's great to be back at Most as well. We didn't visit this fantastic circuit in 2020 in the COVID-19 affected season. 2019 was the season that we were here. The Euro NASCAR 2 races were won by Lasse Sorensen, who went on to win the championship, and Giorgio Macchi. But we'll hand downstairs to the chief, who are Grand Marshal for this race.
Ani o to tedy nebudeme ochuzeni. No a pak už si samozřejmě užijeme samotný start závodu. Připomínám tedy Martin Doubek, druhá pozice ve druhé startovní řadě. Včera vypadal i na stupních vítězů, co jsme měli radost. Tento rodák z Litomyšle vypadal velmi sebevědomě, říkal, že si věřil na indického jezdce před ním. Stabil závodu, k němu neustále přibližoval, už nebyl dostatečně času. Ještě se před něj dostal, samozřejmě budeme i zvědaví na tu dominanci Tobiase Dauenhauera časem 50, který zatím nemá leteckou dominanci ani podové klasifikaci.
Because he will start from 4th position on the grid at the win of his number 7, Hendricks Racing Ford. And in yesterday's race, he managed to finish on the podium. He was in 3rd position in the race yesterday, so Martin Dubek with plenty of support. They would love a win here if he could manage it, but there's got the best part of 22 other drivers out there that want exactly the same. The most famous words in NASCAR are now just moments away. The fans enjoying better weather today. The final team members vacating the grid. Great to have live onboards this weekend as well. That is Luca Lasser, who will drive that car in Euro NASCAR Pro. The driver behind the wheel now is Eric Quintal. It's the number 64 car that starts towards the tail end of the field. Final team members there, and those famous words in NASCAR about to be mentioned any moment now.
Can you see?
No. Yes. No. Tak, pomalinko se nám vyprazuje startovní rošt, pokračuje tady oficiální startovní procedura. Druhý víkendový závod pro
Finally being cleared, our Grand Marshal is there, and it's it. The most famous words now in NASCAR. Here we go. Our Grand Marshal for the Grand Prix of the Czech Republic, round 6 of the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series, Euro NASCAR 2 division. Coming up, what is at the right time now, and therefore I think the choreography of just making sure they get this correct is about bang on. You can see 14 on the timing board, which means 14 laps this race will be. The wheel and lights are on the safety car. The Ford Mustang safety car is about ready to go. And here we go, over to our Grand Marshal for the most famous words in NASCAR.
Drivers, start your engine.
There we go, the most famous words in NASCAR. The V8 engines spring into life. 5.7 litre, what's that, 350 cubic inches, isn't it? V8 engines producing 400 brake horsepower. Understandably, with them being NASCARs, they're not the lightest. They are 1,225 kilos, that's about 2,700 pounds, something like that. And this year they have the option of either running the 4-speed manual, which most of them do. There is a sequential option for this year, but most of the teams and the drivers opt to still run it as the 4-speed manual. It's a mechanical sequential, it's not an electronic sequential. So the final few team members just leaving the grid, and cars will very shortly be heading off on their formation lap. Remember, this grid is based on the fastest lap times that were set in yesterday's race. It gives us the grid for today. So if you had a poor race yesterday or got entangled up in incidents early on, you'll be towards the back of the grid, and that's exactly what happened for the likes of Advait Deodhar and Vladimir Choices, and poor old Tom Krasina starts off the back. He didn't even start yesterday's race, the Greek driver. So I think the green flag is about to be waved any second now, and then we will run you through the way that they will line up on this grid as they head off for their final formation lap around this 4.21 kilometre circuit. Tobias Dauenhauer is to the left of our screen. To the right of our screen is Pierluigi Veronese, who set a really good lap time in the race yesterday, Pierluigi Veronese, and that's what sees him so far up on the grid. He only finished, though, 11th in the race, but managed to squeeze in a good lap time. So green flag at the tail end of the field, and we're about to see the cars off on their final formation lap, just trying to build those last little bit of temperature into the Control Hoosier slick tyres that they will all now be running. Good start, I noticed, for Advait Deodhar, the number 56. Let's guide you then through the grid for round 6 of the championship as they head off on their formation lap. On pole position, it is number 50, Tobias Dauenhauer, and alongside is Pierluigi Veronese. So Dauenhauer and Veronese on the front row of the grid. Row number 2 of the grid is Advait Deodhar, and lining up alongside Advait Deodhar is the local star, Martin Dubac, at his home NASCAR Grand Prix. Row 3 of the grid, on the inside of the third row of the grid, it's Francesco Caristo, who we heard from down there on the grid, alongside the Finnish driver Levi Lintakanto. And row 4, we will see Max Lancer line up on row number 4, alongside another driver we spoke to down there on the grid, the Belgian Simon Palat. Onto the 5th row of the grid, it is Ian-Eric Varden and Justin Kuntz who sit there on row number 5, with row 6 being comprised on the inside by the man from Luxembourg returning to the series this weekend, Gilles Linster, who retired late on in yesterday's race, and Alberto Panabianco. The 7th row of the grid sees Paolo Valeri line up alongside the Ukrainian driver Yevgen Sokolovsky, and row 8 of the grid is Portuguese driver Miguel Gomez alongside the Austrian Alina Leubnegger. After that, then we move on to row number 9 of the grid, Vladimir Choices and Advait Deodhar, the Cypriot and the Israeli. And then the 10th row of the grid sees Ariana Kasuli line up alongside one of the drivers with our camera car for this race, Eric Vidal. And off the back of the grid on his own, didn't start yesterday's race, as I mentioned, it is the Greek driver Tom Krasinas that starts towards the tail end of the field, having had problems in yesterday's race. So that's the order in which they will line up on the grid. And then we'll have to wait and see as to who might come out on top in this one. Race yesterday was won by Tobias Dauenhauer. That was his 2nd of the season. As I mentioned earlier on, it was the 5th of his career, but lining up alongside him on the front row of the grid is Pierluigi Veronese, who is as yet to claim a victory in the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series. It's good to see him back this year, Pierluigi. He was away racing other things or didn't compete last year. The other wins this season, by the way, 2 to Martin Dubeck, who starts 4th on the grid, and 1 to Advait Deodhar. His first ever career win came at Brands Hatch, the first Indian ever to go to the top step of the podium in victory lane in a NASCAR race. So this is number 77, Gilles Linster, the driver from Luxembourg, returning to the championship, as I say, weaving from side to side to try and get as much temperature into those controlled Hoosier tyres as he can, the 27-year-old Luxembourger. And then the other one, where we can see a great shot of the driver at work, is Eric Pintal, who is off the back of the grid at the wheel of the Speedhouse, number 64 Ford Mustang. That car is white with some subtle light blue livery to it as it flashes through shot any second now. There you go, it's just gone through shot now. So the car's heading up towards turn number 20. The wheel-in lights will be extinguished on the top of the Ford Mustang safety car, and then we will get the race underway with what will be a side-by-side start in tricky and wet conditions. Yesterday, the officials opted to do it as a single file start for the start of the race, which, considering how bad the conditions were, was the right thing to do. We will be going 2 by 2 for this start this time. So Tobias Dauenhauer and the black and Dayglow car of Pierluigi Veronesi on the front row of the grid. The yellow and black car is Advait Deodhar alongside the black and light blue and Dayglow yellow car of local star Martin Dubeck on row number 2, and Francesco Caristo is largely white alongside the white and blue car of Livio Intercanto on row number 3. So buckle up, everybody, for the second top weekend in Euro NASCAR 2. We're about to go green here at the Grand Prix of the Czech Republic, and as the lights go out, they head up towards turn number 1 for the first time. That tight right-hand entry in towards the chicane, which immediately flicks left, caused problems in yesterday's race, and it is going to be Tobias Dauenhauer that leads the race. There's a little snatch break, but that's the unloaded wheel. Pierluigi Veronesi slots into 2nd place. Advait Deodhar is 3rd. 4th is Martin Dubeck, and Francesco Caristo is 5th, but there are problems in the background. A couple of cars at least into the gravel trap, one of which has got frontal damage. And I can also see that there are other cars that are carrying a damage as well. I think Max Lancer might possibly be one of those at the wheel of the Monster Energy back number 88 Chevy from Cal. But it is Tobias Dauenhauer that has managed to leap away in the lead of the race in the early stages. The 23-year-old German out front and already starting to pull away from Pierluigi Veronesi, who's there in 2nd place. A wave of the arm from Advait Deodhar there. Not sure quite what was going on in the 56th car there, but there was some sort of wave of the arm out of the window very, very briefly from the London-based Indian, as he is hot on the heels of the 2nd place car, but also has the 3rd place car, and local man, of course, remember, from the Czech Republic, Martin Dubeck, right with him. Oh, Advait Deodhar makes contact with Pierluigi Veronesi, and as they head into the gravel trap, you can see the damage to Veronesi's car. The front bumper is missing off Advait Deodhar's car. But Veronesi out of the race, and Advait Deodhar is continuing, but he's dropped to 4th and is limping round. So all of a sudden, Martin Dubeck finds himself leaping 2 places there. So Dubeck from 4th, now up into 2nd position, and Francesco Caristo doing exactly what he needed to do, staying out of trouble in a car that's only going to get stronger as the race wears on. He's in 3rd place and has an enormous gap behind him, so that is perfect for Francesco Caristo and the team, and the way they have set that 42 Racing Shadow up for this race. Look at the squabble that's going on behind. That's the battered car heading over the start-finish line now, which I think is Max Lancer's car. Difficult to tell because most of the bodywork is missing, but certainly looks like it's the number 88 car that has got a queue of cars that sits behind him, and he's going to lose out 1 place at least. Yes, Paolo Ferreri dives up the inside of Max Lancer. Miguel Gomez is looking to try and fight his way through. Vladimir Choitsis is also looking to fight through. Choitsis, 7th at the end of the first lap. He started way, way down through the order in, what was it, something like 17th position on the grid? Well, he's gained 10 places, the Cypriot, desperate to try and make up for the points lost in yesterday's race, where he had a non-finish, didn't get to the flag, picked up points, not as many as he would want, but he was lying 3rd in the championship standings, and the number 1 Ford is flying in this race, putting the Portuguese driver Miguel Gomez under pressure for 5th position currently. So there go the lead 3 through. Miguel Gomez with a little bit of bodywork damage to the left front air intake on his car. Joyce is for the moment bottled up behind him. Justin Kuntz is not that far behind, and another car off the back of the field, Nave Talor, the Israeli, looking to try and make progress as well, as he sits there in 9th place. He and Eric Varden will complete the top 10 currently. Scandinavian. This is a great fight for 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th and 11th and 12th places. They keep going, don't they? So that is Miguel Gomez, Paolo Vieri, Vladimir Choices, Justin Kuntz, Nave Talor, Ian Eric Varden, Gilles Linzer, Alberto Parabianco, and I think Tom Krasinas is almost then up onto the coattails of him. Yes, he is. Tom Krasinas is at the back of that little pack as well. A black car with the orange flashes, gaining a place, is he? Yep, dives through at turn 21 and gains a place there, Tom Krasinas. I think that was Ian Eric Varden that's fallen through the field this time through. The number 44 car has lost a couple of places. Miguel Gomez is now getting picked off as well. So Gomez was in 5th. He's down to 8th by the end of that lap, and Vladimir Choices, his progress continues still at the wheel of the number 1 Ford. He is now up into 5th position, and the next car he wants to get through and past is the battered number 88 Chevy of Max Lancer. Justin Kuntz is coming under pressure for the final place inside the top 6. Nave Talor for Not Only Motorsport is hounding and hassling him. Nave didn't do a full season with us in 2020, just came out for the Super Speed Week at Valencia, did the final 4 races of the season there, the 2 times former Israeli karting champion. But it's good to see Nave back in the series. Eric Quintal we ride on board with. You can just have a look at exactly what's going on inside the cockpit, and this is the view that we get from our other live onboard camera car. This is Gilles Linster, really amongst the battle there. He is in 9th position. Car's attacking him whilst he's trying to attack himself. Max Lancer's car has got more and more bodywork peeling its way back. The fiberglass bodywork just getting caught in the wind, and you can see it sort of almost peeling the side off the car there. Battles still continue though. Tom Krasinas getting a move done and gaining a place on Ian Eric Varden, I think that was it not? Yeah, it was Ian Eric Varden that he gained a place over there. They were separated by a couple of positions as they came over the start-finish line. What 10th and 11th places that would have been. And there is the lawn sight of Pierluigi Veronesi's car. I'm not sure Pierluigi did a great deal wrong there. Have to have a look at a replay if we have one, just to see exactly how far back and going for the move Advait Deodhar was and whose corner it was in reality. May well have just been a racing incident, but I thought Pierluigi was already turning into the corner when the contact was made. But we only caught the tail end of it. A big bite taken out of the front of Ian Eric Varden's car. That's going to be slowing his progress in a straight line. And at the moment, the progress of Vladimir Choices is being slowed a little bit because he's behind Paolo Vieri now in 4th position. Choices. So he's not quite worked his way from 17th up into the podium slots, but either way, it's been a fantastic start to the race for the 24-year-old Cyprian driver. Miguel Gomez is still sticking his elbows out. He's trying to keep Alberto Parabianco behind. That would be for, what, 11th position now, would that be? Gomez was 10th over the line, Parabianco was 12th. The two of them are squabbling for position. It is that 10th and 11th they're fighting for, and 11th and 12th. Can't quite see the next car ahead of them as to whether Ian Eric Varden has gone through or whether he's dropped back behind the pair. I think he's dropped behind, so I think it will be 11th and 10th that they're squabbling for. No, he's gone ahead of them, so it would be for 11th and 12th that they are fighting for. Now, the one thing here I'm really surprised with is how Max Lancer is still hanging on to 8th place with most of the car having no bodywork. That will be affecting the aerodynamics of it. He's doing a good job at the moment in 8th position. But towards the end of the race, maybe, the tyres might just get overworked. There you can see, look, you can tell which one is the 88 car. Most of the front bodywork missing off it, but he's doing a really good job of hanging on to it. Here's the fight between Miguel Gomez and Alberto Parabianco, and Yevgen Sokolovsky is trying to get in. Oh, that's poor old Tom Krasinas again. You can see the frustration on Tom Krasinas's face. That's 2 races now. One he didn't start, and the other one he's only managed to get, what, 4, 5 laps into it, and that's retirement and lots of smoke coming from underneath the bonnet of the Academy and Alex Caffey Motorsport prepared car. Frustration for him, disappointment as well for the family and the supporters that will be here with him this weekend. So Deodhar leading by 6.7 seconds at this stage. There's a huge gap back from Deodhar to Garisto, and then equally as much a big gap back from Francesco Garisto to Paolo Valeri, who is still hanging on to 3rd place at the moment. But this is Paolo Valeri, the number 8 Chevy, under attack from the number 1 Ford. So it's the Victor Racing Chevy from the Academy and Alex Caffey Motorsport Ford. The DF1 Racing Chevy trying to get alongside. All Choices almost trying to sneak his way up the inside. Needs to be careful though, if he tacks and it doesn't work, then Justin Kuntz and then the white car with its orange numbers to it, which is the Not Only Motorsport car of Nave Talor, might be able to pick his pocket. So Choices has to be careful here. He wants the podium, But if he tries it and it doesn't work, he could find himself down in 6th position, and that would not be good again after yesterday's problems. So 4 laps already completed. They're on their 5th lap at the moment. Good fight still going on down towards the bottom of the top 10. The number 46 of Portuguese driver Miguel Gomez. Alberto Panabianco was looking to attack. His attention, I think, are more torn towards defence at the moment. And this is the fight for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, all still together. Justin Coots trying to pull a move on Vladimir Choitzis, whilst Choitzis is trying to get up the inside of Paolo Valeri. Oh, that got really close. You could see the snatch break on the unloaded wheel there from Justin Coots as he knew the gap was starting to diminish. Now, this is the key part of the circuit, as we heard from Simon Palat. Get cleanly off this corner, carry the momentum down the straight. Justin Coots is slower off it, and that has now almost allowed the number 90 car of Advait Deodhar to try and sneak his way alongside. Can the Israeli, the 19-year-old, get up the inside of the hugely experienced German? I think he's going to get in towards turn number 1. Through goes the number 90. Advait Deodhar now gains the place. He's up to 5th. Coots is down into 6th place. Paolo Valeri sliding the car around, still hanging on to 3rd place, and the final podium spot at the head of this little quartet of cars. Now, I think because this quartet are slowing themselves down, it's also allowing the 77 of Jules Linster to begin to close in as well. So the 27-year-old from Luxembourg, who finished 5th in the Euro NASCAR 2 standings back in 2018, looking to gain a place. Vladimir Choitzis up the inside of Paolo Valeri, who turned in on him, and then Advait Deodhar gets tagged into a spin by Justin Coots, I'm afraid. So Choitzis went for the move. He was almost alongside the driver's door, almost, you could say, or the passenger door, but Paolo Valeri still turned in. So again, that will be looked at by the officials, and if needs be, they will apportion blame and take action. But either way, both. Let's have another quick look. Here comes Vladimir Choitzis. How far is he alongside? He is more than alongside on the way into the corner. I think he probably stayed on the brakes a bit longer, seeing that the gap was closing. But there was contact between Choitzis and Paolo Valeri, and then as a consequence, Advait Deodhar got onto the brakes and got tagged in the rear by Justin Coots. So that was hugely unfortunate for Advait Deodhar. But that has shaken up the order now. That means that Choitzis will be up into 2nd position. He was a long, long way alongside Paolo Valeri, but then did stay on the brake a bit longer. So at the point the contact was made, he'd probably dropped back a bit further down the side of Paolo Valeri's car, but I'm sure that was because he thought the contact was coming. So Miguel Gomez still fighting away now. This will promote Gomez and his little squabble with Alberto Panabianco and the light blue car of Yevgen Sokolovsky back up through the order again now. So Gomez all of a sudden is 8th, Panabianco is 9th, and Sokolovsky is in 10th place. Max Lancer is now up into 6th place in the battered number 88 car. The battered car of Ian-Eric Varden behind him as well. And we haven't really mentioned what's going on, because this is going to be for the lead of the Legend Trophy. So this is for drivers over 4 in Euro NASCAR 2. Max Lancer and Ian-Eric Varden both eligible for that. And this is 1st and 2nd place in the Legend Trophy. Miguel Gomez will be 3rd in the Legend Trophy at the moment. He is a further place behind them. And I think Miguel Gomez will actually be leading the rookie part of the race as well, for those in their 1st season of Euro NASCAR. Who's leading the Lady Trophy at the moment? That will be Ariana Casserly that's just leading that. But there's not a lot of a gap between herself and Alina Leubnegger, so we'll try and pick up on that as well, the 54 and the 12 battling out on track. So Max Lancer, battered Monster Energy Ford, coming into press from Ian-Eric Varden, the fiddle looking to try and sneak his way up the inside. There is Alina Leubnegger, who's had a spin, I'm afraid, so that will promote ever more Ariana Castley into the lead of the Lady Trophy. They could go past the rather forlorn-looking Luigi Veronese, who is a very frustrated spectator here at Autodrome Most. But for the lead of the Legend Trophy, and the 6th and 7th place overall, it's a great fight that's going on. Max Lancer having to drive overtime to try and keep Ian-Eric Varden at bay. Now, Max Lancer was just 1 point adrift of Yevgen Sokolovsky in the Legend Trophy standings coming into this race. He is best part of, 3 places ahead of him, 4 places ahead of him in this race. So Lancer would take over the lead of the Legend Trophy if he can hang on to the position. And even if Ian-Eric Varden gets past, yes, it would mean that he wouldn't win the Legend Trophy section of it. I still think 2nd would be more than enough for Max Lancer to take up the lead in the Legend Trophy Championship standings after this race. He's actually now just starting to back away and pull away a little bit from the car of Ian-Eric Varden. The 56-year-old Finnish driver who was the legend champion back in 2019, Ian Erik Varden. Been runner-up in the V8 Thunder cars and the Camaro Cup in his native Finland. He's been champion in the Ferrari Challenge Scandinavia back some years ago as well. He's been a part of the NASCAR Wheel Euro Series, the double 44 car, since 2018 when we first saw him, and quite an influx of Scandinavians that year as well. 22 Justin Coops is just off the spots at the moment. The German driver who had problems in yesterday's race, in very changeable conditions yesterday. We'll be hoping that he can have a better run here and hang on to that 4th position. We'll go back on board with Jill Lidster. Good shot from our live onboard camera cars. This is the view that we get from Eric Quintal's car, the 2 cars that are carrying our trial of live onboard cameras for this weekend. Now, Tobias Downhauer is 5.5 seconds up the road from Garisto. Garisto is coming on a little bit stronger now. The gap is coming down a little bit, which was what we heard would be the case with the way that the car was set up. It was, what, 6.5 seconds. It's now 5.5. We're over halfway through the race, so Garisto really needs to get a hurry up here if he wants to catch, let alone get past Tobias Downhauer. And we have had a change for the lead of the Legend Trophy. I can see there Ian Erik Varden has gone through and ahead of Max Lancer. And Miguel Gomez, now the 46, has also been ticked off by Advait Deodhar, who's now at the wheel of the not only Motorsport number 90 car, he has now moved his way up into 8th position. Gomez down to 9th, but still coming under pressure from the black car of Alberto Panabianco and the light blue and orange machine of Yevgen Sokolovsky. So there is Advait Deodhar now, number 90, gaining a place and already starting to gap the car that he's just passed. Good drive though from Miguel Gomez. He will still be leading the rookie standings, the rookie trophy in this race, but only just because Alberto Panabianco is a rookie as well. So the green and yellow number 46 and the black and orange 89 that sit behind, those two are battling for top honours in the rookie trophy. Miguel Gomez pushing hard to see whether he can hang on to it. Panabianco much braver on the brakes heading in towards turn 15, but the gap's always going to close, so he just has to get out of the move and try and concentrate, as we've heard from so many drivers. Get cleanly off the corner, get the exit right, and then you can just see what the car does ahead, because if through the complex of corners where you're from left to right and left to right again, then if you run wide at one corner, it puts you offline for the next, it puts you off even further offline for the next one thereafter. So you've got to be precise through those technical sections. And well, for the moment, looks as though Miguel Gomez is just doing enough to keep Alberto Panabianco behind, and Yevgen Sokolovsky is the next one thereafter. Yevgen is running in light blue and orange car, almost a full liveried car, in 11th position. And he's going to be the 4th legend we have in the field, so he's just going to come up short in terms of getting onto the Legend Trophy. But a big mistake from him, clatters into the side of Alberto Panabianco, which also puts into the gravel trap Miguel Gomez. Not quite sure what happened there. Yevgen made a mistake in the braking area. He was heading towards the grass and then clattered right into the side of Alberto Panabianco, which cannoned him in towards Miguel Gomez. Gomez gets recovered, will continue. As for the other two, it depends on the amount of damage that's been caused to those two cars. Let's have a little look. Yeah, it's totally out of shape. And then turning into the corner, Alberto Panabianco also got out of shape with a raft of oversteer going in. But for me, that was, yeah, either a mistake or a mechanical issue with Yevgen Sokolovsky's car, which is rather battered, is facing the wrong way. But thankfully, sensible for the Ukrainian. He has been able to get that car out of harm's way largely, to mean that it will be covered by localised yellows, I'm sure, rather than needing a full course caution. So sensible driving from Yevgen Sokolovsky. Remember, he was leading the Legend Trophy Championship standings. Go back on board with Eric Quintal. On board the Speedhouse number 64 car. 57-year-old from France. He finished 3rd in the Legend Trophy last year when he was 14th in the overall standings in Euro NASCAR 2. We saw the localised yellows there for the stripping car of Yevgen Sokolovsky. Downhauer going past that point of the track with a 6-second advantage between himself and Francesco Garisto. Vladimiris Choitsis from, what, 17th on the grid up to 3rd position. That will certainly net him, if he stays where he is, 34 championship points. It could well be 38, because I can't think many other people would have gained as many places as he's gained, because there are 4 bonus points, remember, having gained the most places from starting position to finishing position. But there's our race leader. I haven't seen much of Tobias Downhour, largely because he's been on his own in this race. He got the break earlier on. The other cars ran into each other, and there were a few little bits of contact. He was just able to build that advantage, and now has really just controlled it over the course of the last few laps. Max Lancer's battered car being one of those. Most of the front bodywork missing off that. He's still under pressure, though, for what is 7th position. He's got the number 90 car of Advait Deodhar behind. Tobias Downhour, it's all marching on to plan. There's first, there's second, so that's the relative gap first to second place. It's going to be about 10 seconds after Francesco Caristo's car before we could see Vladimir Choitz's big old gap back between that car there in second and then the Cypriot driver Vladimir Choitz's. For the 12th time of asking now, in towards turn 1 and turn 2 goes Tobias Downhour. Francesco Caristo's car set up to come on strong as the race wears on, but he couldn't perhaps have imagined just how many places he would pick up nice and early in that race. You can see the bits of bodywork in the gravel trap there from various incidents, not just from the Yevgen Sokolovsky and Alberto Panabianco incident, but I think that's where some of Max Lancer's bodywork is, sitting in the gravel trap at turn 1. There is Choitzis, so that's the 3rd place car. Might be 10 seconds adrift of the car up the road, but he's running in 3rd place. Justin Kuntz isn't that far behind either, though. The number 22 from DF1 Racing finished 10th in Euro NASCAR Pro last year, did Justin Kuntz. Was racing in Euro NASCAR 2 the year before, where he finished 9th, and he was 9th the year before that as well. Finished 6th, though, in the 2017 championship standings, did Justin Kuntz. Here's number 66, Simon Talat, who is running down in 17th position, I'm afraid to say. It hasn't quite worked for Simon in this race. His car one of the few that are looking slightly battered and are bearing the scars. Now, he and Eric Vardy, you can see the tail end of the car there just start to break away as he fed the throttle in. The tail end of the 44 broke away. We go back on board with Eric Quintal working hard at the wheel of the Speedhouse number 64. Shifting down through the gears there as he heads in towards the braking area. Make sure that you get... Oh, Justin Kuntz a little bit wide there. That was coming out of turn number 18 there. So the German's pushing hard at the wheel of the 22. He's also got a little bit of damage to the front corner of his car. Might well have been caused by just that brief grassy moment there as he came out of turn number 18. Desperate to try and get himself on the podium will be Justin Kuntz, who's had a bit of an unusual season, really. We've not seen him on the podium as yet so far this year. He had a 4th place in the 2nd of the 2 races at Valencia. But that's his best result of the season at the wheel of the 22. Whereas for Vladimir Choitzis, we saw Choitzis on the podium in both of the races at Valencia. We had a 5th and a 9th, I think it was, at Brands Hatch. Yesterday, though, Choitzis had 20th position he was accredited in the end. So he's desperate to try and get his championship aspirations back on track. Now, this is Alberto Panabianco fighting away with Miguel Gomez. So despite being attacked by the out-of-control Yevgen Sokolovsky, the two of them are still squabbling away. As we go back on board with Eric Quintal. Fantastic shots, actually, both the camera on the roof and the inside camera as well, both giving us live coverage at exactly the same time. Nice to see that in Euro NASCAR this weekend. Hopefully we can do the deal and make that happen. It's something that we've been hoping to bring you for quite some time. Tobias Downhour now 8 seconds up the road. This is still the fight for the final place inside the top 10, and is going to be for the lead of the rookie trophy as well. That's an important one. Panabianco, the leading rookie, but right behind him is still Miguel Gomez, who is not giving up his aspirations to try and take the rookie title. And there is Paolo Valeri off, I'm afraid to say. So that is on the outside of turn number 18, turn number 19, where Paolo Valeri has retired the number 8 car, the Italian. But for Tobias Downhour, it's all absolutely gone to plan as far as he is concerned. He is on his last lap, and it's going to be threading his way through towards the checkered flag before too much longer. It is going to be a double win for him. We saw a double win for Martin Dubec, the Czech driver in Spain. We're going to see a double win for a German driver in the Czech Republic by the look of things. And there's Miguel Gomez. He's taken up the lead, has he not, of the rookie category? Yes, he has. He's got himself ahead of Pano Bianco on that lap. So there's been a change for the rookie trophy lead as well. So here comes our race leader. It's going to be a lights to flag victory for Tobias Dauenhauer, and a comfortable one at that, as he has 8 seconds between himself and Francesco Garisto, who is on for second position. That is going to be a great result for Francesco Garisto. We've not seen him on the podium as yet so far this year, so it will be his first podium this season, Francesco Garisto. It is going to be third win this season for Tobias Dauenhauer, who is just working his way through turn 15, turn 16, up towards turn 17, and now on towards 18 and 19 for the final time. Tobias Dauenhauer is going to leave Autodrome Most and the Czech Republic a happy man, having increased his championship lead. He arrived here 9 points to the good of Martin Dubeck. He extended that by a further, 5 points yesterday to 11 points. Well, he is going to come away with an even larger lead in this one, because Martin Dubeck, as you can see, who is second in the championship, down in 19th position and is really going to struggle in this particular race. There we see Eric Quintal and Simon Palat heading over the start-finish line. They will be way down through the order, but there has gone Francesco Garisto, and now here comes up towards the checker flag third place, which is Vladimir Choitzes finishes in third place. Justin Kuntz will finish in 4th position. Gilles Linster, congratulations to Gilles, finishing in 5th place on his return to the series. So there is Francesco Garisto, his first podium of the season for the number 42 car. The 42 Racing Shadow has its badge. There's Choitzes on to third from 17th on the grid, and the battered car of Justin Kuntz comes through to finish in 4th position. The rest of the cars just trickling their way over the start-finish line now, and I think we're still awaiting the winner of the rookie trophy. I think Miguel Gomez, who retook the lead of that at the wheel of the 46 car from Alberto Panabianco. I think they are still to take the checkered flag at the moment, so to wait and see as to whether Miguel Gomez will hang on to that, or whether he might get picked again on the final lap of this race. But the rest of the cars all working their way round in towards the pit lane area. We will gauge some reaction from victory lane with our winning driver, but for Tobias Dauenhauer, there'll be a big old smile on his face. A big smile, I'm sure, on Eric Quintal's face as well, because he kept himself out of trouble, Eric, and finished 13th in the end at the wheel of the car that started off the back of the grid. But this man here, Gilles Linster, will be even happier. Return to the series for the first time in a couple of years. Number 77 finishes 5th in that race on 2 onboard camera cars. So Francesco Garisto driving alongside the race winner, Tobias Dauenhauer, as they head back towards the pit lane area. There goes Ian-Eric Varden, who was the winner of the Legend Trophy in the end. So that's for drivers aged over 40 that race in Euro NASCAR 2. He won that in the end from Max Lance. So they were having a good battle, weren't they, for a good chunk of that race. And as the cars head back into the pit lane area, all of the marshals busy. Are busy congratulating the marshals. There is the rather forlorn sight of Pierluigi Veronese. And there we've also got the stricken car of Paolo Valeri to bring in as well. So there's a few cars that need scooping up. The rest of the field all make their way in towards the pit lane area. And towards victory lane it will be for the second time this weekend for the number 50 Hendrix Ford Mustang of the German driver Tobias Dauenhauer. That now makes it 6 career wins in Euro NASCAR 2, which brings him to 4th in the all-time winners list in Euro NASCAR 2. Many of the drivers that have raced in it in the past don't continue to race it because they all move on to Euro NASCAR Pro, or some head to other series. So he's now tied on 6 wins in Euro NASCAR 2, which is the same number as Vittorio Garelli had amassed. And of course, Garelli was last year's champion and has moved to Euro NASCAR Pro for this year. If you're wondering who's top of the all-time winners list in Euro NASCAR 2, that is still French driver Thomas Ferrando, who had amassed 12 wins during his time in Euro NASCAR 2 before he also graduated up to Euro NASCAR Pro. Second in the all-times winners list is Stinis Longines, who did the same, won the championship, went up to Euro NASCAR 2. But yeah, for Tobias Dauenhauer, it's a good omen when you start to get towards the sharp end of the Euro NASCAR 2 all-time winners list, because it means that you are highly likely to become a champion if you look back through the history books, and highly likely then to graduate and have a good run in Euro NASCAR Pro, the top division. Gilles Linster back into the pit lane. His father Armand there just giving him a quick round of applause as he pulled the car into the pit lane area. But for Vittorio Gorelli, who will take over this car, good omen for him really. He'll be hoping that he has as good a run as Tobias Dauenhauer had in the Euro NASCAR 2 race, with that number 50 Hendricks Ford down there in victory lane for the second time this weekend. All the rest of the cars just filing their way back into their garages, where they'll be held in parc fermé conditions for a period of time before the cars are released to the teams to enable them to re-prepare the cars for the Euro NASCAR Pro race that will be coming up later on today. And then once the thumbs up is given from the officials, our race-winning driver will hop out of the number 50 Hendricks Ford, and we will grab a quick interview once we've gauged the reaction. Francesco Garisto, I can see in the bottom left corner of our screen, receiving a round of applause for his first podium. Well done to Francesco Garisto. It's been a long time coming, that. The 18-year-old Italian. Tobias Dauenhauer, though, out of his car, on the roof, and celebrating. He will leave Most as the championship leader still. He came here as the championship leader, but all you want to do if you are leading the championship is maintain, or if not increase, your championship lead. And well, it is the latter that Tobias Dauenhauer has done. He has increased his championship lead, and even more so with the misfortune of Martin Dubeck in that race as well, who was lying second in the championship, but is going to, I'm sure, potentially drop down through the order as a result of the problems that befell him in that race. So there we go. Congratulations between Martin Dubeck and Francesco Garisto. Tobias Dauenhauer then receives the congratulations of the team, and then I think once we have final thumbs up and get the Hosier hat on him, then it means that we have our race winner who's down there in the pit lane with Andre.
For the right sponsors on the head. Tobias, double win at the Autodrome Mast, and of course you expanded your championship lead in the Euro NASCAR 2 championship, so you must be very happy right now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very happy at the moment. It was just a perfect weekend for the whole team and me. We showed such a great performance the whole weekend during rainy conditions and also dry conditions, and yeah, chaos, like I said already yesterday, was just perfect. The team did an amazing job to give me the perfect car, and I tried my maximum, so yeah, just a perfect weekend.
I guess you want to celebrate those double victories, but we have only 3 weeks left, and then we are going to Croatia. What you are expecting there?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the weekend. We have such a good pace in the moment, and I'm looking forward to the next race. Croatia is also a fast track, and I like it. And we will see how fast we are there, and hopefully we can show the same performance like we did this weekend.
All right, thank you so much. You're Euro NASCAR 2 winner, Tobias Dauenhauer.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Tobias Dauenhauer. Yeah, we do head to Croatia next for our second ever NASCAR Grand Prix of Croatia. That is Autodrome Grobnik, and that will be taking place on the 18th and 19th of September. Unfortunately, I won't be with you for that one, but we do have a more than capable replacement to drop in and bring you all of the commentary action from that one. After Grobnik, if you're wondering the way the rest of the season works out, is that on the 18th and 19th of September after Grobnik, we go to what will be Belgium, Circuit Zolder, on the 9th and 10th of October. That is for the last meeting of the regular season. And then our finals will be the NASCAR Grand Prix of Italy with the American Festival of Rome at Autodromo di Vallelunga on the 30th and 31st of October, where we will crown our champions. So there we are, looking down on victory lane. I'm hoping we might have the graphic that we can just bring up that will allow us to run us through the results for that one, because well aware we've not gone through the final finishing results for that race. Tobias Dauenhauer claims the win from Francesco Garisto in second place, and Vladimiras Choitzes was there in third. Justin Kuntz, Gilles Linster and Nave Talor complete the top six, with in seventh place Ian-Eric Varden claiming the Legend Trophy in seventh place from Max Lancer, who was eighth, and Miguel Gomez, who was ninth. So seventh, eighth and ninth, also your podium for the Legend Trophy. 10th place was Ariana Cassely. She will be the winner of the Lady Trophy in 10th position. Alina Leubnegger was there in 11th place. And in 12th place, Alberto Panabianco, I think, will be the leading rookie in 12th place. A long, long way down through the order to have a leading rookie. And the last of the cars on the lead lap, I think that was. Eric Quintal was in 13th place. 14th and 2nd of the rookies home was Levi Lintercantu. And 15th will be Simon Palat. Paolo Valeri was there in 16th place, ahead of Yevgen Sokolovsky in 17th. And I'm afraid problems for Tom Krasinas, for local star Martin Dubeck, and for Advait Deodhar got tangled up, didn't he, in that incident that also put out Pierluigi Veronese. So that is the results from our second and our final Euro NASCAR 2 race of the weekend. But we still, of course, have the Euro NASCAR Pro race to come up later on. I can see drivers chatting away there down in the pit lane. Ian Eric Varden just tying his overalls up, taking a well-earned drink. Max Lancer chatting about the final details of the race with Francesco Garisto, I think that looks like, down towards the bottom of your screen. Max Lancer in the black overalls, the white fireproof undergarments of Francesco Garisto. Tobias Downhour still doing television interviews at the moment. And then once all of the drivers get released, then they will head towards the podium. I think I can see, yeah, Levi Lintecantu down there actually talking to his fellow countryman Ian Eric Varden. Levi with the purple Hoosier hat on. Ian Eric Varden taking a well-earned drink after that one and being congratulated by a double former champion Luca Lasser, who comes up to congratulate the pair of them. It's a really nice family, the NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series. It does provide some close competitive racing out on track, but off circuit, most of the drivers do get on well together. It's a nice atmosphere in the paddock, and out on track, well, it's pure racing. It's as simple as that. There's no electronic gizmos on these 2,700-pound cars. What ton and a quarter they weigh. The only thing that prevents wheel spin is what your right foot does on the accelerator. The only thing that prevents the brakes locking is what your right foot or your left foot, depending on what you're doing, does on the brake pedal. And as we say, we've got a sequential gearbox introduced for this year, but most of the teams are still running the H-pattern 4-speed gearbox, because the sequential is still a manual sequential. It's not an electronic sequential. So Tobias Downhour, supporters, partners, family, all busy smiling away, looking very happy with the efforts of the German, bringing the number 50 Hendricks Ford to victory lane for the second time this weekend, the third time this season, the sixth time in his NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series, Euro NASCAR 2 division career. And, well, that certainly marks him out now as the man to beat this season, because it's the run of consistency that's staggering. That is now 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a 3rd place out of every race that we've had. He has failed to finish off the podium, Tobias Downhour, and that is what wins championships, really. If you have that consistency and you continually score points, it doesn't matter, you don't need to be on the podium in every race, but if you're just in the top 6, top 10 every race, you are going to be at the sharp end of a championship. So Tobias Downhour has already done a lot of hard work. All he now really needs to do is go to Croatia and consolidate. If he doesn't win, it doesn't matter. If he doesn't finish on the podium, it doesn't matter. But keep scoring now those top 6s. Stay out of trouble. Keep your nose clean. And come the end of the season and the totting up, as long as you have a reasonable weekend at the double points finals, you are highly likely to be at the sharp end of the championship scoring. So just waiting to see what's going on with the podiums. We can see the podium is just behind us and off to the right. The flags are already on it. Right, there goes Tobias Downhour now. He's heading off towards the podium now. We will have 4 podiums in reality for this one. We will have the top 3 in the race overall. We will have the top 3 in the Legend Trophy, the top 3 in the Rookie Trophy, and we will have the winner of the Lady Trophy. So we've got the main podium and, well, 2 and a bit sub-podiums, you could argue, to have for this one before we then say goodbye to you, and we'll rejoin you for the Euro NASCAR Pro race that's coming up a little bit later on over the course of this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you're watching. Of course, it's late morning now, Central European time. It's, what, 10 a.m. just gone in the UK, 11 o'clock in Central Europe, but I fully appreciate it's still very, very early in the morning if you're watching Eastern time in the US. So the number 50 that was surrounded by fans and supporters and media a few moments ago looks rather lonely now, doesn't it there? The Ford, which will be pushed back into the garage and re-prepped, ready for Vittorio Garelli to take over that car for the Euro NASCAR Pro race in a few hours' time. There's a few other cars that will need a bit of work, won't they, with some of the bruised and battered cars that we've seen coming back in. Yevgen Sokolovsky's recently came in on the truck. We know Pierluigi Veronesi's needs work. Certainly Advait Deodhar retired, Paolo Vieri retired out on circuit. All of those will need attention. Tom Krasinas retired with smoke or steam coming from the front of the number 2 car, so that will also need work and attention. Hopefully they will all be serviced by the teams and will be ready for the Euro NASCAR Pro drivers that will take over them later on over the course of this afternoon. The fans have certainly enjoyed it as well, the return of NASCAR racing to this part of the Czech Republic, but the podiums are now ready to go. We will have the top 3 and we will have the team representative from Hendricks as well. May well be Roy Hendricks, the man behind Hendricks Motorsport. That will be the team representative. We'll have to wait and see. But the podium is ready. It will be the top 3 that we will have overall, and they will be introduced onto the OMV Max Motion NASCAR Show podium in reverse order. So it should be Vladimir Choitzis that we'll see out first, and bearing in mind where he came from on the grid and the disappointment of yesterday's race for a driver who was 3rd in the championship standings, that's the way to bounce back, absolutely, for Vladimir Choitzis. Very likeable young man is Vladimiris. I met him for the first time at Brands Hatch for the NASCAR Grand Prix of the United Kingdom a couple of months ago, and a very impressive driver on the track and off the track is the 24-year-old Cypriot. So just moved away from the podium for the moment. I think a little bit of interference on the RF camera there, which I'm sure will just be worked on. I hope that doesn't prevent us from being able to bring you the podium presentations for this one, but if there's a technical fault with that camera, then here we go. We are back with it. Right, the camera is back, so that is good news. Does mean that we can bring you the podiums. I was just a little bit concerned that if that was a technical issue that wasn't quickly resolvable, we would have to kill the stream and not bring you the podiums. They would still happen, but we just wouldn't be able to bring them to you live. But thankfully, as ever, great work done by the technical team at Creator TV. And we can now shortly see the drivers heading towards the podium. I've lost all audio for the podium, though, but we can hopefully bring you the podium presentations. Right, okay, I think there are still a few little technical issues which might just be delaying the start of the podium. So Vladimir Choitzis is back on the podium. Francesco Garisto on the podium for the first ever time this season. Delighted for him. A driver who's going to start studying motorsport engineering actually in the UK very soon. He wants to stay involved in motorsport and become a full-time driver, Garisto is saying. So he's very focused on a career in motorsport, but is doing a sensible thing. If it doesn't quite happen as a driver, then you've always got that motorsport engineering degree. So he's going to come over to the UK and study motorsport engineering. And the top step of the podium, of course, will be reserved for Tobias Bauernhauer. I think we're ready to go. The problem is with podiums is that drivers always want to wander off and chat to fans and family and teams. And therefore it's difficult. It really is. It's like herding sheep, trying to scoop them all up and point them in the direction of the podium and make sure that then once they're there, they don't wander off and start chatting to somebody else. And when you've got 9 drivers that we're trying to scoop up this time through, it's not the work of a moment, rest assured. I've tried it many a time, and as soon as you think you've got them all, you look back over your shoulder and one of them's disappeared again. Here we go. So we've got the last few VIPs and representatives heading onto the podium, ready to present the trophies. And then we are surely now just a matter of seconds away from getting the podium presentations underway for round 6 of the 2021 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, Euro NASCAR 2 division here at Autodrome Most in the Czech Republic. We're hearing the problem with Martin Dubek's car and why he retired at his local circuit was a broken axle. Now, whether that was as a result of contact, I don't know, but that's the news that has fresh reached me in the commentary box. So we are ready to go then. Drivers are about to be introduced out onto the podium. So, 3rd position in the race overall goes the way of Vladimir Choitzis, heads up onto the podium, proudly wearing the Cypriot flag. He's still got the energy to leap up onto the podium as well. That's exactly what he needed after the poor performance yesterday. It wasn't his fault, it was just car issues that prevented him showing his true pace. 2nd place for the first time on the podium this year, Francesco Garisto. You can see what that means to him and the 42 Racing team. He also shortcuts and leaps up onto the podium. Congratulations to Francesco. And the top step of the podium for the championship leader, who extends his lead in the championship. Tobias Bauernhauer congratulates Francesco Garisto, congratulates Vladimir Choitzis, and heads up onto the top step of the podium. And then we have the team representative from Hendricks Motorsport. Yup, heads up onto the podium, I think it will be. Yes, it is. So up onto the podium goes to the team representative from Hendricks Motorsport. And now with our drivers and team representatives on the podium. We will present the trophies. Vladimir Choitsis receives his trophy from the Grand Marshal. Second place driver Francesco Garisto picks up his first silverware of the 2021 championship season. Looks pleased with that, doesn't he? Looks really pleased with that. Big smile on Francesco's face. And the top step of the podium. There we go. Tobias Downhauer receives his second winner's trophy of the weekend. His third of the season. And now that we have our drivers all together on the podium, it's now time for the national anthem of the winning driver. So there we go. Our national anthem has been played. We'll let the photographs be taken with the top three drivers all gathering up on the top step of the podium. And then once the photographs have been taken, they're keen to make merry with the champagne, but my suggestion would be that if you don't need to be there on the podium, escape now, otherwise you're going to end up very wet in a few moments' time as they celebrate what's been a great weekend of racing in Euro NASCAR 2. So Tobias Downhauer, Vladimir Choitsis and Francesco Garisto have the final race of the weekend, and that's who's first to get the cork out, which is Garisto wins that one. The Downhauer second, and Vladimir Choitsis is third again there, isn't he, in the race to get the cork out of the champagne. But celebrations on the podium. Great to see the drivers enjoying it, and nice to see their faces smiling. I think that's the thing, that through this strange period of time in which we've all been living, where subject to the local restrictions, you either do or don't have to wear a face covering. I think the one thing of motorsport I've really missed is seeing the smiles on people's faces on the podium. And when they've got a mask on, you just can't do that. The same amount of effort goes in to winning that race or finishing second or third or whatever you've done, but you just can't see the emotion when the mask is on. And I think of all of the things in motorsport during this period of time in which we've been in, that's the one thing that I've missed. So it's great to see the smiles back. It also, contrast to that, also means you get to see people when they're perhaps a little bit grumpy and they haven't had the result that they wanted. But that's motor racing, isn't it? You've got to enjoy the highs, because there's probably more lows than there ever are highs in motorsport. So there we go. Final few photographs just being taken, and then we'll get the podium redressed, and it should be the Legends category that's out next. We've got further presentations to do, though, and this will be for the championship leader as we leave Most. So that will go to Tobias Downhauer, who will be now awarded with the windscreen header. So Tobias Downhauer receives the red Whelen windscreen header, which will be placed on the car. And there we go, there's the red windscreen header, which indicates the championship leader. So there we go. That's our championship leader as we head towards Autodrom Grobnik in Croatia for our second ever NASCAR Grand Prix of Croatia. So that is Tobias Downhauer done for the moment, I think. Just awaiting confirmation. Can I leave the podium, he's saying? Well, I think, yeah, you're allowed to go. Off you go. Off you go, Tobias. And then we can move on with our next podium presentation. On come the VIPs and dignitaries once more, ready to present the trophies. And then we will get our drivers up in reverse order for what I think will be the Legend Trophy next. It should be, if it's the Legend Trophy, Miguel Gomez, Max Lancer, and Ian Eric Varden. So finishing in third position in the Legend Trophy for drivers aged over 14 Euro NASCAR 2. Miguel Gomez, the Portuguese driver, finishes in third position. Had to fight hard for that as well, did Miguel Gomez. Second place went the way of the somewhat battered car, but what a result. Max Lancer finishes second in the Legend Trophy. And I think we'll take up the Legend Trophy Championship lead as a result of that second place finish. But the top step of the podium, winning the Legend Trophy, and 7th overall goes the way of Ian-Eric Varden, the Finnish driver. So a Portuguese driver, an Italian and a Finn, showing the variety of nationalities that we have in the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series, all represented there on the podium. And now it's time to present our trophies, first of all, to the third place driver. Miguel Gomez takes third place in the Legend Trophy. Second place goes the way of Max Lancer. And the win in the Legend Trophy. And also brings him in towards contention in the championship. It is Ian-Eric Varden that picks up the win in the Legend Trophy. Ian-Eric was the Legend champion a couple of years ago in 2019, where he finished 12th overall in the series. Didn't race with us in 2020, but it's great to see Ian-Eric back once more. So there we go, that's our Legend Trophy podium done. And then we will then head towards our rookie podium that will be next up. Based on the information I've had for this one, I think the rookie trophy podium might be different to what I'm expecting. Now, I thought Miguel Gomez would be eligible for that, but information on screen suggesting he isn't. So I'm just going to hang off and wait until we see who we get for the rookie trophy podium. Levi Lintecanto and Alberto Panabianco should certainly be there. But we'll wait and see as to exactly what the order is for this one. So I think on some of the information it does differ very. Miguel Gomez is definitely eligible for the rookie trophy, yet on the screen I've got in front of me it's not giving that as an indication, but he's definitely eligible for it. So I think Miguel Gomez will appear on the podium for this one, and I think he will be classified as the winner of it. Alina Leubnegger is also eligible for it, but she's not identified on the screen that I've got as being. So Alberto Panabianco is third place in the rookie trophy. So he will head up onto the podium. Where is it? Here he comes. Alberto Panabianco. Then it should be Alina Leubnegger and Miguel Gomez, but I say neither Alina or Miguel Gomez on the screen I've got suggest that they are rookies, but they definitely are. So it is Alina Leubnegger or Solaris Motorsport that finishes second in the rookie trophy. And the top step of the rookie should be Miguel Gomez. Indeed it is, yeah. So I thought the information I got in front of me was incorrect, but yeah, it is Miguel Gomez who is the leading rookie home. Congratulations to Miguel Gomez, who has raced late models in the past. And then we will have our trophy presentations for our top three drivers in the rookie trophy. Alberto Panabianco receives his trophy. So again, just go to show the range of nationalities that we have. An Italian in third place, an Austrian in second, and a Portuguese driver in third place. There's Alina Leubnegger. Looks pleased with that, does Alina, as will be Francisco Cini and the Solaris Motorsport crew. And Miguel Gomez claims top honours for himself and Marco Steep Motorsport. The car that Romain Iniesta was doing great things with in the wet yesterday in the Euro NASCAR Pro race. We'll tell you a little bit more about what went on in that and reasons and why and decisions being taken and driver reactions for that race. If you weren't with us yesterday, watch it back. Amazing. All of the cars started on slicks. Every single car had to pit for wets as conditions just got worse and worse and worse and worse. So do watch that back if you weren't watching it live yesterday. And then we've just got one more trophy to present, and that will be for the winner of the Lady Trophy. She's just vacated the podium, but we need to bring her back on again because the winner of the Lady Trophy is Alina Leubnegger, who will be heading back up onto the podium. Or is it? No, Ariana Castley, actually. Yep, the spin for Alina Leubneger dropping her out of contention for that. So Ariana Casserly picks up the win in the Lady Trophy. Onto the top step of the podium goes Ariana, who's been a regular face in the NASCAR Wheel Euro Series for a good number of years. She was the Legend champion last year. She was the Lady champion in 2019 and 2016, having been runner-up 2 years prior to that, actually. So Ariana Casserly picks up our final podium spot and our final trophy of this session for the NASCAR Wheel Euro Series. So that's it, the OMV Max Motion NASCAR show podium at Autodrome Most being vacated by everybody, which means that for us, it's also time to leave you as well. But remember, we still have one more race coming up later on today. That will be for the Euro NASCAR Pro Division that takes place later on this afternoon, and that will be our last race of the weekend here at Autodrome Most. The stream goes live at 3 o'clock in the afternoon Central European time. That's going to be 2 o'clock in the UK. And if you're watching in America, thank you for getting up early and joining us for this one. But you can set your alarms, go back to bed for a bit and join us at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So from everybody here at the NASCAR Wheel Euro Series and Autodrome Most, thanks for joining us. We'll see you later on today. Until then, it's goodbye.